In the US, falling birth rates hit a record low last year, reflecting a demographic trend long established in Europe. Politicians warn of demographic collapse. Employers fret about the future workforce, while commentators scold millennials and Gen Z for being selfish, immature, or irresponsible. The most common explanation offered for this collapse in birth rates is usually economic. People would have children if only they could afford them. A Reddit post subsequently distilled that argument bluntly. It read, "The whole kids versus no kids debate isn't actually about kids." The thread opens. It's about resources. The author, a parent who notes that childcare costs nearly match their mortgage, argues that the real driver of plummeting birth rates in developed nations isn't shifting values or lifestyle preferences, but economic strain. While acknowledging that parenthood isn't for everyone and shouldn't be undertaken out of obligation, they suggest that many people who currently choose to be child-free would make a different decision under better material or economic conditions. But would they? Is choosing not to have children really just a cost question? Or are there much deeper, unseen reasons that no one wants to talk about? I'm Peter Kearney, and this is my Viewpoint. The post I mentioned on a US internet forum drew more than 1,000 comments and reignited debate over whether the choice to be child-free is really a matter of affordability. While lots of people fired in their views, one person had the presence of mind to group the responses into categories, patterns people returned to repeatedly, which suggested the cost issue isn't the full picture. These are the 6 main themes that emerged. Theme 1. Many people simply don't want children and now can say so. Some contributors said, "Women are now comfortable saying that they don't want kids. I believe that's the main thing that's changed." Another said, "It doesn't matter to me if you gave me 2 years paid maternity leave, a guaranteed job, full hospital bills covered, a 24-hour nanny, free daycare, free baby supplies, cosmetic surgery to get rid of the scars, and a personal trainer to get rid of the baby weight. I still don't want kids for any reason, ever, period." And one comment said, $10 million could be wired into my account tonight and I would still not have children. For me, it is not resources, it is the absence of desire. There is nothing about it that appeals to me. In other words, in a free society, stripped of traditions and norms, people can more or less do what they want, even if that leads to the collapse of their society. Individual autonomy trumps societal continuity. Theme 2. Modern parenting is exhausting in new ways. In short, parents are expected to be with or involved with every tiny aspect of their children's lives. Helicopter parenting is demanding. One comment read, "Now parents do a lot more actual parenting. Working mothers today spend more time with their kids than stay-at-home mums did in the 1970s. The expectation that you need to be everything for your child and spend enormous amounts of time with them is new, and it's exhausting." So, society seems to have set expectations for perfect parents on social media, for example, which very few people feel they can attain. Theme 3. Modern life leaves no margin. As one person said, "There's an energy cost. I'd like to have kids, but I honestly don't think I have the energy. It's exhausting just to take basic care of myself and my dog, do my job, try to maintain a couple of cheap hobbies, and see friends once in a blue moon. I don't think it'd be fair to have a child." This comment sums up another strand of Gen Z thinking. I want to have everything, and I've been told that I can have it all, so why would I jeopardise that goal with children? Theme 4. Children no longer provide economic return. Historically, children served a utilitarian purpose. In agrarian and artisanal societies, they helped with gathering resources, hunting, fishing, and other labour, increasing the economic and material capital of the family and the community. Now, this is at least an honest comment. In an earlier era, we did send children up chimneys and expected them to work from a very young age. But with childhood now lasting well into a young person's 30s or longer, by which time they're too big to fit up a chimney, prospective parents just see outlays without returns. Theme 5. Pessimism about the future. One comment read, "I once read that what declining birth rates really tell us is that people feel that the world they're living in isn't worth continuing. That thought is still sticking with me hours later for reasons I can't fully articulate." So fear of the future is real for a whole generation who've grown up bombarded with dire predictions of climate crisis and planetary apocalypse. Although none of these predictions are true, they have created a fearfulness which has left a generation feeling pessimistic and lacking the optimism needed to start the next generation. By the time they realise Greta Thunberg's green hogwash was just a load of green hogwash, their biological clocks will have stopped ticking. Theme 6. Nordic-style benefits aren't really the answer. Comments on this theme were really revealing. One person said, "I live in Finland. We have an extremely strong support system. You get child benefits for 17 years. Childcare is heavily subsidised. Education is free, even university, and parental leave is almost a year long. And still, people don't have kids." They give the same reasons people do in the US: money and lack of benefits. Too expensive. Parental leave should be longer. Child benefits should be higher. Childcare should be cheaper. I think the truth is that people just don't want kids that much. Kids are tiring and time-consuming, and pregnancy and childbirth usually aren't pleasant experiences. But people are afraid to say they simply don't want more kids. They want hobbies, travel and freedom. It's more socially acceptable to say you really want kids, but can't because of the government. Another refreshingly honest comment read, "Frankly, I don't buy that cost is the primary reason people aren't having kids. Nordic countries have the most generous childcare benefits in the world, yet their birth rates are even lower than those in the USA. That makes me sceptical that our birth rate would rebound simply by adopting those policies. If more people were honest, they'd admit it's the time, stress and responsibility that deter them. That's fine, but let's not pretend it's only about money." And frankly, that last comment sums it up. It is more socially acceptable to say you really want kids but can't because of the government or the economy. Much more acceptable than saying, "I want to do my own thing and to hell with the future." The gist of almost all these comments is, what's in it for me? One answer is stress, strain, and sleepless nights. But another one, maybe the one we need to start promoting, is that putting your interests on hold, you will create a family and change the future. And that's not something that money can buy.